Hello, I'm Ken Carpenter, and this is Invest AI Savvy, where AI powers smart investing. Happy Friday the 13th, March 2026, everybody. I'm not going to pretend that that's not on my mind, and the market has plenty of real reasons to feel uneasy this morning, so let's get into it. Futures are pointing to a tentative green open after a rough week of selling. S&P 500 futures at 66.88, up 16 basis points. Dow at 47,103, NASDAQ 100 at 24,802. Small gains, fragile footing. Here's the story behind the numbers. Crude oil is flirting with $100 a barrel. WTI settled at 95.38 overnight. The Wall Street Journal's morning note frames this well. Oil at these levels is intersecting with investors rushing to exit private credit funds. The Wall Street Journal's morning note frames this well. Oil at these levels is intersecting with investors rushing to exit private credit funds, and not all of them can get out quickly. That's the kind of liquidity stress signal that makes risk managers nervous. 10-year Treasury yields sit at 4.28%, up 16 basis points. Gold slightly soft at 5,100. Rising oil, rising yields, soft gold. That's inflation anxiety competing with growth uncertainty in one picture. Now, let's cross to the BuzzPulse and see what the social sentiment landscape is telling us. The morning brief describes today as broad and loud. 44 of 50 tracked assets are confirming momentum, which sounds bullish until you dig in. Overall sentiment reads mildly positive at plus 0.088, but signal quality is thin. The top narratives fall into the catch-all other category, meaning BuzzPulse cannot map the chatter to a specific catalyst. No earnings beat, no FDA approval, no merger, just people talking. This is an important concept. BuzzPulse doesn't just measure how much people are talking, it measures why. When 40 out of 50 narratives are uncategorized noise, that tells you participation is high, but conviction is low. That kind of environment tends to produce choppy, indecisive price action. And today, there are 0 A-plus conviction setups in the entire pipeline. 0 explosive surge results. BuzzPulse is waving a caution flag. The crowd is active, but unfocused. ORCL, ORCL is the cleanest signal on the board. 9.2% move in 24 hours. The Z-score of 7.0. For anyone new to the show, BuzzPulse calculates a 30-day rolling baseline of how often an asset gets mentioned across social and news platforms, then measures today's deviation using a Z-score. Above 4 is explosive. ORCL at 7 is so far beyond that threshold, it's statistically almost impossible by chance. Something real happened here. Sentiment reads positive. This is real money responding to a real event. ORCL is today's anchor signal. Adobe is catching a sympathy bid alongside ORCL. Surge ratio of 2.98, positive sentiment. But it's coming from a single source, stock twits only. And this is where source diversity matters. Source diversity makes up 15% of the total buzz score. When an asset trends across Reddit, Finlight, StockTwits, and Crypto Panic simultaneously, that's multi-channel validation. Different audiences independently discovering the same story. Single source signals get discounted. Treat Adobe as a sympathy play, not a standalone thesis. USO, the United States Oil Fund, is the most analytically interesting signal today. Z-score of 9.4, the highest in the top 10. But here's the twist. Sentiment is negative at minus 0.15. Oil discussion is screaming in volume, nearly 10 standard deviations above its 30-day range. But the crowd is bearish. That's a textbook divergence. The crowd is paying enormous attention to oil and forming a negative consensus, yet oil is sitting near $100 a barrel. Either the crowd is right and a pullback is coming, or this much negative sentiment at this volume becomes fuel for a contrarian move higher. Either way, the divergence demands your attention. XRP carries the most structured crypto narrative in today's run. Z-score of 8.8, positive sentiment, and the catalyst is specific. The Clarity Act regulatory thread and potential institutional banking infrastructure adoption. That's a named catalyst with clear institutional implications, not vague rumor, not emoji-driven hype. Lunar Crush gives XRP a galaxy score of 67. Strong absolute attention, but its alt rank is 96, meaning it's underperforming peers on momentum trajectory. Compare that to Solana, SOL, which posts alt rank of 29. Lower raw attention than XRP, but accelerating relative to peers. Different signals entirely. XRP has high buzz. Solana has improving buzz. Tesla, a Z-score of 8.3, but sentiment is dead flat at minus 0.00. Bulls and bears locked in an even tug of war, no decisive edge. And Microsoft is showing exhaustion sentiment, retail killer language in the chatter. Frustration from crowded longs going nowhere while the actual price move is only down 0.2%. When enthusiasm fades, hope-held positions start getting trimmed. Watch for that. 3 things to watch this weekend. 1, watch USO for a sentiment flip. If crude oil social buzz shifts from negative to positive, the entire market picture changes from scattered participation to a directional macro trade. That's a significant regime change signal. 2, watch whether the macro narrative bucket starts generating named catalysts. Right now, 40 to 50 narratives are uncategorized noise. If specific developments crystallize over the weekend, geopolitical, central bank, data release, Monday morning could look very different. 3, watch the Oracle sympathy trade. Adobe is already showing gravitational pull. If Salesforce CRM, also elevated at a surge ratio of 2.25, picks up multi-source coverage, enterprise software could become a genuine theme, not just a single stock story. The meta lesson: high participation does not equal high conviction. BuzzPulse is showing a market where everyone is engaged and nobody is certain. In those environments, focus on assets with structural catalysts, multi-source validation, and divergence signals. Oracle is clean. The XRP regulatory narrative is clean. The CL-TLT macro pair is clean. Everything else is noise until proven otherwise. Use this weekend to review your watch list. If you're holding names showing exhaustion sentiment, ask yourself whether your thesis still holds or whether you're just hoping. Until tomorrow, I'm Ken Carpenter. This is Invest AI Savvy, and that's the way it is.